Okay, in the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall continue our study in the book of Nehemiah. So yesterday, we touched upon Nehemiah chapter 1 and chapter 2. As I share with you that I do find Nehemiah not only an important book, but a very interesting book that I think that we all need to spend some time to really further for you as your own self-study. It is very good that if we can spend more time to learn and to know the detail of Nehemiah, a legendary life, a life that make a great differences, not only to himself, but also to his people, and also for the entire generation. So his decision allow him to elevate himself, elevate the value of his life to a next level, a level that he probably never comprehend. He never I believe that in chapter 1, that he never thought that at the end of the book of Nehemiah, or at the end of the journey of his life, he probably never thought that he would end up being who he was and where he was. Just like Apostle Paul said, look at me, what kind of man I have become. Okay, so you know what? I really wish that in our journey, every one of you, or every one of us, that in our journey, maybe we only set out from something small, just a small fire in our heart, just an extra step in our effort, just something a little more. And as we proceed, we take upon the extra mile, the extra work, that many years down the road, you look back and you can say with amazement, say, look at me, that what kind of person I have become in the eyes of the Lord. That would be very, very rewarding. Okay, so we shall continue to chapter 3. Chapter 3. Let's go to chapter 3, verse 1. In chapter 3 is the beginning of the construction project. Chapter 3, verse 1. Verse 1. Then Eliashib, the high priest, rose up with his brethren, the priests, and built the sheep gate. They consecrated and hung its door. They built as far as the Tower of the Hundreds and consecrated, then as far as the Tower of Hananel. Okay, we stop in here first. The entire chapter 3 is a repetitive description. Repetitive. It's a continuous recording of who came up and built what with the brothers, and So you find that in here, repetitively, the Bible tirelessly record name after name, family after family. In fact, in the entire chapter 3, the Bible record 42 groups of people in the repetitive format. And you might feel, come on, this is so redundant. This is so, waste of pages, waste of paper. Come on, the Bible can just say, they all came up and built the wall. They finished the wall. Hallelujah. Amen. If that's the case, that we can shorten this class to 3 sections. I'll be done with you guys. We will be done with the class. But no, the Bible tirelessly record name after name in the same format, repetitively, who came up and built, And then you know that, let me tell you, majority of the name that was recorded in these 42 groups, you probably do not know any one of them. You don't know any one of them because they are just small guy. They are just, just a name in the entire vast Bible or the vast history of Israel. Just a name. So those names, let me tell you that majority of the names you don't know, I don't know either. But though that in here, this might be the only place ever occur for those names in the Bible. But you cannot deny the fact that they were all remembered. So brothers and sisters, why did the Bible taking so much effort repetitively, redundantly that recall name after name after name 42 times? Because the Lord wants you to remember nothing gets forgotten. The Lord will never, even people might forget your name. Even people might not aware, might not realize what you have done. It is not, it is okay. You know that when you were back to the days when we were able to attend the service in the church. After the service, you're ready to go home, and then you pass by the bathroom, and then you saw that the floor was so filthy, and you were like, who is the cleaning? Which group is who the group didn't do a good job, I guess. And then you walk away. But after you walk away, then your conscience keep on rebuking you and keep on saying to you, you walking away? You know that a lot of times we have that little voice, like the little angel standing on your shoulder and say, you walking away? You walking away? Are you sure about it? So, as you were walking away, and then that voice so annoying, keep on telling, oh, by the way, that voice is called your conscience or Holy Spirit. When you feel that they are very annoying, but that's the Holy Spirit. So that little voice say, you sure? Are you sure? This is the house of your Father. This is the house of your God. Are you sure? So you know what? You couldn't do it. You just, sit in your car ready to just start the engine and go home. You have tons of homework, but then you just have to pull the key out and, went back to the bathroom and start mopping the floor. For probably 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. You did that. You walk away, but nobody knew. Not a single soul in the church knew that you came back to clean the bathroom. How would you feel? How would you feel? You might feel that you were not recognized, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Because people might not know, but God never oversight. God never God never forget your dedication. That's why in here, in chapter 3, all those names, you don't know them, I don't know them, but God know every one of them. That's why they were recorded 42 times. And if you read chapter 3, which you should, remember yesterday we said you should read up to chapter 4. Should I do a poll to see that if you did it? Nah, no. So if you read it carefully in chapter 3, you will realize one thing. In that 42 groups, they are out of all different classes, careers, and also different social status. Start from the beginning, you see the priests, and you also find merchants. You also find just the officers, like the high-end officers, okay? And you also find Levites, okay? And you also find silversmith and merchants, okay? So you know what? The reason I brought this up is to tell everyone, is to remind every one of us, you could be in different social class which we would. You know that as we go on with our life, some of you will be really based upon your future plan. Some of you become school professors. Some of you become, engineer, lab research. Some of you become start your own business. Some of you just working in the corporation, 9 to 5 as a employee. So you know what? You and I, we will have. You will have different social level and social achievement in the future. Some are higher, some are just ordinary. Some are some owns business, some just employee. But in here, the Bible record all different status, all different level in the social achievement. In the eyes of men, they are different ranking. In the eyes of God, the moment when you step forward and say, I will do something for the Lord, then you are equally important in the eyes of the Lord. Okay? So it doesn't matter what your future achievement is. It all depends on when the calling is upon you, will you push it away? Finding excuses. Oh, I'm busy. Come on. Don't you know how many meetings I have to hold? Don't you know I'm a busy guy? Don't you know I run like 3 corporations? That everybody depends on me. Okay? You could find all the reasons not to join when the Lord call upon you. That's fine. It's your choice. But you can also step forward and say, sure, I will build the wall for Jerusalem. Even I am nobody in the eyes of the world, I can still do something for the Lord. Okay? So out of 42 groups, we find a lot of different social level. Let's go to chapter 3, verse 1. Chapter 3, verse 1. Verse 1. Then Eliashib, the high priest, rose. That I want to address upon this verse because it's very, very crucial. We call this setting the good example. That in here, we find Eliashib. The Bible says he was the high priest at that time. And the Bible recorded that he was the first one, rose with his brethren, with other priests. He rallied the priests and say, we can do it. And by setting up the good example, that Eliashib became the locomotive that pulled the entire train to motivate the Israel and say, hey, look, even the high priest is doing it. How much more we should also participate? If high priest is doing it, we should do it too. That's called leadership. In the eyes of the Lord, leadership is not by giving out command to show that you are higher and greater than other people. That's not what leadership is like. Well, maybe that's the leadership in the society. Okay? Maybe that's what the world tell you, that if you want to be the leader, or if you become the leader, then you are the boss. You tell people what to do. You sit there and do nothing because you are the boss. Okay? But in the church, that's not how it is. In Gospel Luke, the Lord said to his disciple, we can take a look. In Luke chapter 22. Oh yeah, we need to call people, right? To make sure that you guys are still awake. All right, Luke chapter 22, from verse 24 to 27. Let me see. Edward Young, can you read it for us?
Verse 24. A dispute also arose among them as to which of them was considered to be greatest. 25. Jesus said to them, the kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who exercise authority over them call themselves benefactors. 26. But you are not to be like that. Instead, the greatest among you should be like the youngest, and the one who rules like the one who serves. 27. For who is greater, the one who is at the table or the one who serves? Is it not the one who is at the table? But I am among you as one who serves.
Okay, thank you. Now you can mute yourself. Okay, so in the verse that we just read, that Jesus reminds us. So who is the greatest? The greatest one is the one that is willing to serve, willing to bow down and be humble, willing to approach even the lowest, willing to take upon the most difficult task, willing to step forward to be the pioneer, to take on the challenge, to be courageous, to do to take on the task that other people are unwilling to do. That will make you the leader in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, so in here we see that in here Eliashib, the high priest, indeed he set a great example for you and I by being the first person to set an example and rally the people to follow him, to build the city wall. Just like in John chapter 10, about the shepherd and the sheep, that Jesus Christ said that the shepherd walk before the sheep, in front of the sheep. So when the shepherd call on the names, then the sheep will gather and follow him. That's leadership. Okay, so brothers and sisters, you are you know that for your age, you are the permanent future generation that we are that will take on the baton and become become the workers, the leaders, the workers of the new generation, of your generation. But please do remember, being the leader in the church is never about who is greater, who get to pound the table, or who get to be louder and tell people what to do, who can just slap the table and make the final decision and shout, say, my word is final. That doesn't make you a leader. That only make you a bully. Okay, that only make you a bully. Well, being a bully in the house of the Lord, the consequence could be very severe. Okay, so okay, now we are done with so this is the example of the priest. But unfortunately, at the end of our class, we will go back to the high priest Eliashib. He began as a great Joseph, I don't so shall I ask the student to ask the question?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, someone has a question, please go ahead.
Well, my question was that at the end of the chapter, or at the end of the book, it says that he prepared a room for Tobiah, and also his grandson is the son-in-law of Sanballat, so he has a lot to do with the enemies of Israel.
Well, let me see. That's Janice. Okay. Yeah, sister, thank you. You read very fast, that you went all the way to the end. So that was the point I tried to address, that you can see from the beginning. You can see from the beginning that he was the one that talked to, in chapter 2, he was the one that Nehemiah worked with. And in chapter 3, he was the one that read. So you know that Nehemiah, though that he was a high official, but he was not local. You have to remember he was an outsider. He was not, and he wasn't even born in the land. He was like those kids who were born outside. So when he came to Jerusalem, people treat him different. They might fear him and respect him because of his social status, but they would not immediately accept him and include him. And at this time, high priest, but high priest was very much the local leader. And he worked with Nehemiah and allowed the work to proceed, allow the work to become easier and smoother when the local head, the local leader, the chief is willing to cooperate. So in the beginning, yes, you have to give him the credit. But as the question, as I was going to say, that as we approach to the end of the book, we will find that unfortunately, he was unable to keep his integrity and his devotion to the end. When personal agenda step in, when benefit and profit lure his eyes, he start making other choices that really ruined not only his reputation, but also ruined the value of his servitude. That's why in the book of Ecclesiastes said that the end of the matter is better than its beginning. Okay, but we will talk a little bit more about that as we approach to the end next week. So as we say that in chapter 3, what we found is that there were 42 groups participate with different social status led by the high priest. So we say that spiritual leader means that you set an example by taking up upon yourself the responsibility. But at the same time, we also need to be reminded that when the Bible records 42 groups, it means that almost everyone is part of the construction project. So church work is never a one-man show. If you are serving in the house of the Lord and always alone, please do not always blame other people. You do not blame them for not working and cooperate with you. You do not blame that they are weak and little faith, because you do not always look around and say, why I am the only one? I am the only devoted. Most of the case, 99%, the reason that you work alone all the time, either you work alone in the church or you are walking along in the journey of your faith, 99% is because you are very arrogant or you are a weirdo. Okay, one of the other. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you is that a lot of times when you feel that other people are not working with you, it's because you are unwilling to work with anyone else. You are very strong in your opinion, extremely stubborn, and you have this my way or highway attitude. Then of course, no one will work with you. No one can work with you. When you feel that you are always alone and lonely in the church, that no one is friendly enough to accompany you, maybe it's because you are the one rejecting everybody, feeling that they are not good enough for you. So if you are always by yourself, you know that the Bible never ever encourage to be alone by yourself. He always said two are better than one. You know that two are better than one is not mentioned, is not about marriage. Very often we use that in the book of Ecclesiastes, we use that to refer or quote it in the wedding. Two are better than one. But it's more than that. It's more than marriage. It's about companionship. It's called soulmate. It's called spiritual friends that we need. So you see that in order to complete the construction of the city wall of Jerusalem, that so many people participate and join to make it possible. You think Nehemiah, the big guy, and he came and he said to all these people of Israel in the city and say, you wimp, you're so weak. You know what, forget about you. I will show you how to do it. And then he start all the job on his own. Well, the story will be very different. Then the story will end early because he stroke, hypertension, or whatever. And then, you know, you have a story say, oh, then Nehemiah arrived. He checked out the city, he started working, and after 7 days, he died. If he decide to take upon himself everything, say, I can do it, for I am the great and mighty Nehemiah. No, it doesn't. You know, holy work, church work is always, spiritual battle is always in groups. In groups. So that the work is not a way to show off and demonstrate your talent, but it's a work of cooperation so that you learn to be humble and accepting. Okay. Continue. Let's go back to chapter 3. Chapter 3, and then you will find another repetitive section. Okay, let's go to chapter 3, verse 10. Next to them, Jedediah, the son of Heramoth, made repair in front of his house. Okay. And wait. Okay. Verse 29. I think there are various places, huh? Verse 29 also that they made repairs in front of his own house. Well, I think there are several recording for the some repetitive it was repeated a few times that you find in chapter 3 that quite often you find they made repair either adjacent from their house or across from their house or opposite of their house or at the corner from the house to the corner, something like that. You read it a few times, you will find out that many of them began the construction job in front of their house. That's another reminder for you and I today that if you want to serve the Lord, you need to, how should I say this? You need to aim high, but look down, look low. What I mean is, it's okay to have a great dream for the Lord. I have a big dream. I will do this and do that. It's fine. That's very fine. But you need to take one step at a time. You know that sometimes in student events, we have students say, so move and then shout and say, I will go to Africa. You know, especially after hearing all the testimony stories or about zebra and giraffe. And then they were like, oh, we'll go to Africa. We'll go to Africa and preach. But let me tell you, very often I told them I told them that thank God it's good that you have the heart to go and preach preach the people you do not know in Africa. But isn't that kind of weird that you wouldn't even preach to your best friend who you know for the past 10 years? Right? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that you have a big dream, aim high, but you do not look down and take every step, one step at a time. If you do not even preach to your best friend who know you so well, if you do not even preach to your classmate or someone you know, what makes you think that you would just go to Africa and preach to someone that you do not know? So it's good to have a big dream, but even big dream built upon day by day work, day by day dedication. So in here, it reminds us, if you want to build a city wall for the Lord, for the holy city, begin from where? From where you can see. From where you can see, like, you came out from your house and you saw in front of your house, the city wall is semi-collapsed. And you look at the wall and then you say to yourself, man, I'm going to help someone today. And then you just walk away and you went and help someone else. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. So the Bible told us, if you do not even take care of your family, 人若不看顾亲属, if you do not take care of your family, you are worse than the Gentile. That's what Apostle Paul said. You're worse than Gentile if you don't even, non-believer, unbeliever take care of their family. So if you don't even do that, then you are worse than a Gentile. Apostle John in 1 John said that if you cannot love the brethren you see with your that you can see, you say you love God, you are a liar. Isn't that? So taking it day by day, have a big dream for the Lord, but take it day by day to build ourselves up. Start from where? Start from your room. Start from the, that the here says that from the wall across from your house. So where shall you start? Start from acting different at home. What is faith? What is being religious? You know that a lot of times we associate religious faithfulness means that I'm always reading Bible, dedicating a lot of time in prayer, always hallelujah, okay? You feel that, oh, I'm so religious. I pray like an hour and a half today. Oh yeah, I'm so religious. I attend all the church seminar. I'm so religious. I read the Bible every day. Good for you. But as you dedicate so much time in cultivation, how do you live your life determine if you are religious in the eyes of the Lord? You pray a lot, but at the same time, you fight with your parents a lot too. What kind of religious person you are? You know the Bible very well, but you don't do a single thing in the house. No chores, no helping out. Take everything for granted. Selfishness. Then what's the point of knowing the Bible very well? So start from somewhere small. Still remember that there was once that after SSC, I got a phone call from one of the students' mother. And usually when we get a phone call from the parents, we are expecting something that they are not happy about. So we want to find out what happened, either to the student or something that we need to improve upon. No, the mother called me and she was overjoyed to the point she was crying on the phone. And I was like, what happened? What happened? You know what happened? She said, amazing. God really works. Amazing. SSC. Wonderful. I said, what happened? And she said that my son came home from SSC And after he ate, not only he said thank you, but he took the plate to the sink. And the mother were in such an amazement. And she couldn't help but call me and say, this is a miracle. And God really works in SSC, like Holy Spirit. In my heart, I was like, oh, so embarrassed. So embarrassed. So sad. But at the same time, I just, the reason I brought this, I want you to know you can glorify the name of God by clean up after yourself, by showing your respect, by showing that you are responsible, by showing that you are a trustworthy person. Those are very, just a small, minute gesture, but you can show the whole world that you are a person with the Spirit of God in you. Okay, so start from something small. And not only that, I want to show you another verse. Let's go to chapter 3, verse 12. Verse 12. Verse 12, and next to him was Shalom, the son of Halohesh, leader of half of the district of Jerusalem. He and his daughters may repair. This is for me, this is a fairly amazing verse. There are two reasons that it was amazing. Number one, daughters. No, I do not have any discrimination to girl. Okay, that's not the point. What I want to emphasize is the daughters, they have all the reason of the world not to take on the work, right? It's labor work, carry bricks, it's sweaty, smelly, it's for the guys, because they smell anyway, So that usually, probably in our generation, we are more like gender equal. So, a lot of tough job, you see females. You see female driving the forklift, doing everything, no different. But at that generation, usually the outside work is done by the male. Difficult one, heavy one, require a lot of physical strength. Girls doesn't need to do it. They did not need to. The social expectation is not there. The society did not expect the woman or the girl to take this kind of job. They could be, that doing taking care of the field, cleaning the weeds. They can do those kind of light labor work. But in terms of construction, building things, lifting up the heavy weight, fixing and repairing put down the mortar and build the wall, no, they don't have to. But though that they were not expected, but they were willing to do it. That's why I want to bring this to your attention. Even just like the example I mentioned earlier, you are not on the schedule for clean the chapel. Doesn't mean you cannot clean the chapel. See something, do something. How hard is that? So when you see something not right in the church, you have two choices. You can either voice and say, who is in charge of this? Not doing a good job, irresponsible. You could accuse, which you might be giving a correct accusation because the assigned person did not do the good job. Okay, you win. You are right. Oh, you're right. But you have another choice. You can take upon yourself, even it's not your responsibility, doesn't mean that you cannot do it. The easiest way, you step forward, take care of it, thank God. Because you are not doing it for anyone, you are doing it for God. It's your house, you're cleaning your own house. Why do you need to be put on schedule in order to do something for your house? So what I'm saying is, number one, the girl did not need to do it, but they have no problem doing it. That's what makes them great and being recorded in the Bible. Number two, family. If you notice, in here, the Bible talk about this family. This family control half of the city of Jerusalem. So this family, the father is one of the highest ranking officer, probably just under Nehemiah. Ranking Nehemiah, then this family. So very much before Nehemiah arrived, the father is probably taking upon the role of the ruler of the city, at least half of the city. Then we can call the daughters, you can call them the princes, right? After all, they are the daughter of high-ranking officer, high social status. But even that, they did not allow that social status to become a hindrance to work for God. And that's another amazing thing. Number one, they are girls. They don't have to, but they do it because they love serving the Lord. Number two, they came from a very, very, very well-to-do family. So should be, I don't know, look at Disney, the princes, right? Never do anything hard, never need to do any work, never need to lift a finger, always got servant to serve. The only thing that they need to do is looking pretty. I don't know. That's probably like this, whatever you can imagine about the life of princes. But for them, they did not allow that kind of social status. I am the princess. My father is the high-ranking officer. My fingernail will get dirty if I lift the brick. Oh, I cannot lift the brick. It's too filthy. I cannot work with other people. They are too dirty. They could totally act like a very, spoiled girl from high-end class. But the amazing thing about these girls, this is Jerusalem. This is the city of my forefathers. This is the glory of David, and this is the glory of God. So I have no problem, kick away my high heel shoes and, put up the jeans and work for the house of the Lord. That's the spirit. Okay. So continue. What time is it? Okay. Continue. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. Unfortunately, let's do verse 5. Let's do verse 5. Verse 5, next to them, the Tickite made repair, but their noble did not put their shoulders to the work of the Lord. Okay. The reason I want to bring up this verse, because I want you to make a comparison. If you read verse 27, after them, the Tickite repair another section. Why do I want to bring this to your attention? Because in here we find in the same group of people, two totally different reactions. So then here says that the people that they built, but the nobles, they would not carry anything on their shoulder. And the Tekoite, not only they built, in verse 27 say, they also built another section. What does that mean? What does it mean? That everybody just start with what they can. Start from the house in front of, start from the wall in front of them. That's like a giving responsibility. you finish the repair of the house, of the wall in front of your house. That's your job. That's like the requirement. But the Tekoite, not only they complete their giving assignment, but they were willing to take upon themselves voluntarily another section. Okay, something to think about. Are you only fulfill the basics, or are you happily and willingly to take on extra responsibilities? Okay, so the Tekoite, that they were able to say, no problem, we finish our job, we have more time, we can do it. Come on, let's go. Now, and the Bible recorded. But at the same time, it also recorded noble in a shameful way. We can compare the noble with the Tekoite. We can also compare the noble to the daughters. Social status, high-ranking life. Noble who believe that their bloodline is higher, greater, and more honorable than other people. In here say they are not part of this project because they would not use their shoulder to carry anything. One thing interesting, this is just for your reference. When the Bible record carry with your shoulder, if you look at, look into the life of, the Bible record about the Levites, the Levites. You know that the Levites have 3 groups. Levi has 3 groups. But out of 3 groups, 2 of them, or all 3 of them tend to the work in the temple or in the tabernacle. But 2 of them, 2 groups, that they get to use the cart and using the ox to pull the vessels, except one. There was a unique group that they carry the holy things with their shoulder. The most sacred things you cannot use the cart to carry. You have to use your shoulder. Remember in the book of Joshua, when they were at by the Jordan River, and then the Bible says that the priests who carry the Ark of Covenant on their shoulder, when they step into the water, then Jordan River parted. Okay, so you find a lot of significance about carrying with your shoulder. It's always referring to something more honorable, more glorious. But in here says the nobles would not do it. They might feel they only left out. They only miss out the filthy work because they don't want to get their beautiful garment dirty. But the Bible used the term that they would not carry with their shoulder, signify that they miss out the best portion in the holy work, which is to be remembered by God. All right, we will take a break. Then we will continue after the break. Let's all pray in silence. Amen. Hallelujah. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall continue our study in the book of Nehemiah. Let's turn to the book of Numbers first. Numbers chapter 7. Numbers chapter 7 from verse 6 to verse 9. Numbers chapter 7 from verse 6 to verse 9. Chris Wu, can you read it, please?
So Moses took the cart Verse 6. So Moses took the carts and the oxen and gave them to the Levites. 7 2 carts and 4 oxen he gave to the sons of Gershon, according to the service. 8 and 4 carts and 8 oxen he gave to the sons of Merari, according to their service, under the authority of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. 9 But to the sons of Kohath he gave none, because theirs was the service of the holy things, which they carried on their shoulders.
Thank you. So this is the verse that I was referring earlier when we talk about the nobles. Indeed, in the eyes of the noble, in the eyes of those who feel that they are higher, greater, their bloodline is more, I don't know, whatever. Some people always feel that they are more pure or more honorable. So when they feel what they see, the nobles, what they saw was the filthiness in participating the construction. What they saw is that carrying the bricks will make them sweaty, and they don't look so noble anymore. Okay. However, if you compare, or if you reference to the verse that we just read, able to carry with your shoulder is the honorable. And here says that the children of Gohan, that they cannot use the car to be pulled by the ox because it's holy vessel. They are handling the most holy vessel. That's why they use their shoulder. In the eyes of the noble, carry those bricks, debris, or doing the work, that's for peasants. That's for low-end people. Getting yourself all dirty. No, I don't do that. I'm the natural born leader. Then you know what? They were actually missing out the greatest reward in the whole construction, which is to be able to carry with their shoulder the holy thing. So holy work, that we talk about holy work. Holy work is what you carry on your shoulder. It could be anything. You serve in the church, but that service might not necessarily be equal to holy work. I think that we use this word holy work very casually. We feel that anything related to church, anything that's done in the church is holy work. Not necessarily. No. It could be administration work, which you only do it because it's your responsibility. It could be secular work. If you do it out of intention to benefit yourself or to show off yourself, only the work that you carry on your shoulder and deem it holy, that make it holy work. Okay, so the nobles, the moment when they feel that they are too good, they are too holy, too righteousness, too good, too high end for anything, that only make them the lowest amongst all in the eyes of the Lord. Okay. So remember that there is no nobility in the house of the Lord. Well, if there is, then we are all included, because we are all having the same status, which is the children of God, / which is the slave of God. You are both the children of God / the servant of God. And that the same thing apply to every one of us. So there's nothing in the church that you are too good for. And there's no work in the church that is too low for you. Okay. But in here we see that the nobles, they are unwilling to get themselves dirty. So at the end, they are counted for nothing. They are not part of this construction. They were able to be there personally, eyewitness, one of the greatest things in the history of in the recording of the Bible, rebuilding the holy city of Jerusalem. They were there, but they were not there. Okay. All right. So we are done with chapter 3 and we go on to chapter 4. In chapter 4, due to the time limitation, we will go direct to chapter 4, verse. Well, let's just go straight to verse 10. Verse 10. Let's read from verse 10 to verse 12. Verse 10 to verse 12. Angela Lynn. Yes, please read it. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 10 to 12. Oh, there are two. The one in Miami.
Oh, okay. Chapter 10. Verse 10. Then Judah said, the strength of the laborers is failing, and there is so much rubbish that we are not able to build the wall. 11. And our adversaries said, they will neither know nor see anything until we come into their midst and kill them and cause the work to cease. 12. So it was, when the Jews who dwelt near them came, that they told us 10 times, from whatever place you turn, they will be upon us.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was looking at the screen and you just keep on smiling at me. And I was about to smiling back and see how long would it take for you to read for me. Yeah. Okay, so in here, what we just read, we are seeing the 3 major challenges that they were facing. The 3 challenges. The reason that hindered them to continue, remember in chapter 2, they were burned with zeal for the hand of the Lord is withstand. In chapter 3, they all set out on a journey and led by the high priest and say, we will do it. We can do it. All zealous, all fervent, all pumped up. But suddenly in chapter 4, the table turned. In chapter 4, immediately we see that they are saying, no more, cannot do it. We are unable to finish the project. Defeated. They were defeated, lost heart, and they were about to give up. Why? That in here we see that the Bible told us 3 reasons why they were unable to continue building the wall, and also told us the 3 of our greatest challenges when we want to build up the spiritual wall, the spiritual Jerusalem in our life. Number 1, too much. Too much. That in here they say, there was so much of rubbish that we will never ever finish it. That's the problem. That by looking at how much they need to do, it frightened them. And also it took away any hope. Just like today, if I ask you, just like, random example, you all are able to count, right? College, you should be able to count. Let me give you pennies. All right. You know what? After you graduate, you find a job, and your new job is counting pennies. All right. That's your job. And they pay good. Now they paid you, $100,000 a year for you to count pennies. Yeah, ooh, no problem. Yeah. When you see a bucket full of penny, and then you say to yourself, I can do it. Take me 3 hours. But when you see a cement truck came to the front of your office building with those bucket, those buckets that can lift up, and then a mountain of penny roll over and fill the entire parking lot. Tons of it. And then the boss say to you, start counting. Sometimes, you are able to finish it. It's just how long. And just by looking at the load of the load that you need to do, that's what we mean by defeated. Not that you cannot do it, but you are crushed mentally by thinking about how much. And you say to yourself, no, I will never finish it. But for the sake of your salary, you seriously sit down and start counting it one by one. But before you even get through the pennies in one parking space, break time. Before you even get through the pennies in one parking space, you saw another cement truck came in with another bucket load of a bulk load of pennies. I think that most of people will just stand up and walk away and say, forget it. It's not really about physical labor of how many hours that you need to do it. It's the mental collapse because you are so overwhelmed by the burden of your workload. So then here, that this is the problem that they were facing. The problem that they were facing is that they were defeated because there was so much work that they need to do. So what is that? What is the reminder for you and I today? The reminder is when you always eye on the trouble, or when you only eye on the workload, then you will lose heart and be defeated if you only look at the problem. That's why when God asked Noah to build the ark, the only instruction about the window is that the Lord said to Noah that make an opening on the top. He did not say, hey, make windows so that you get to see and enjoy the view. There's no view. There's only destruction. Water, crying of those who are drowning. Fear. You know that when you open the window to the side, you only see trouble. But when you open the window on the top, you see deliverance. You see hope. So when we serve the Lord, when we are participating in holy work, if you only focus upon work itself, then soon or later you get burned out. Another problem is too much. It's very interesting that too much rubbish. It's pretty interesting that, this is just for fun. This is not really like, solid Bible teaching. But remember what Apostle Paul said about the rubbish, right? Apostle Paul said that everything that, for the sake of Jesus, that everything is deemed as rubbish to him. So if you put these two together, it really got you thinking. When you have so much rubbish to attend to, then you become exhausted, you lose your strength, you become weak, and you want to quit. No, please don't get me wrong. I am not calling your school study rubbish. That's not. Please do not go to your parents. Pastors say, oh, these are rubbish. I'm not going to study anymore. Okay. Oh, the tests are rubbish. All right. No, I never say that. But compared to the things of the Lord, according to Apostle Paul, compared to the things of God, things of the world, they have some value, but the value is not very high. But at the same time, if we are occupied, if our life were so burdened, so occupied by all this obligation, quote and unquote, rubbish, according to Apostle Paul. When your life was so piled with the never-ceasing dreams, goals, ambition, achievements, never enough, then eventually, sooner or later, you will lose your strength to build the wall for the Lord, for you are just exhausted. If you are having classes and after classes from 7 a.m. until 9, until 8, that everything consumes so much out of you. The reality, let's put about faith, all these things, let's put those things aside, which is greater or which is more valuable. The reality is our energy, our ability to concentrate is limited. Attention span is limited. Daily energy limited. So if you are so occupied and so burned out by everything that you need to attend to in your life, by the time for service, you doze off. By the time for Bible study, you say tomorrow. By the time to serve the Lord, you say no time, sorry. That's the reality. It's not about whether you like it or not. You could be very, very God-loving. But if you are so piled by all the things of the world because you want so much, eventually you collapse. Just like here say, we have no more strength. So being wise means that you are able to articulate, you're able to calculate how much you can do so that you can budget your strength and your ability and your time wisely. We call that wisdom, including doing holy work. Some youth, they feel that the more holy work I do, the closer I am to God. You can take this literally. You are closer to see God when you burn out. Well, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is some member, they feel I have to say yes to everything. Because it's God, it's church, it's work, it's holy work. I need to be holy. I need to be faithful. I take on everything. That's not smart. That's not even right. Because what happened is eventually, just like here, too much work, you collapse. Or you barely pulled it through with either mediocre result or lousy result because you just don't have the time. You don't have the time, you don't have the energy, but you say yes to everything. You take everything upon yourself. You say, yeah, I can do it. No problem. Then at the end, you are always hitting the deadline by just do a very, very last minute everything. So the consequence, the result is, since you took everything, many other members got nothing to do. And since you took everything, but you don't have the time, everything you do is pretty lousy and just for the sake of just for the sake of doing it. The heart is not there, then the value is not there. What I'm trying to tell you is not tell you to walk away from holy work, but able to wisely have a self-assessment so that you can precisely evaluate how much you can do, and you can do it good. So if you are able to do 5 things that you know you can definitely do 5 things and do it with all your heart and do it very well, that you have no guilt in front of the Lord. If that's what you can do 5, then you take 6. The additional one is called trust in the Lord through prayer, in faith. The Lord will give you extra power to do the impossible. That's called rely on God. You can do 5, you take 10, that's unwise and irresponsible. That's how it is. So please do not just, oh yeah, let me do everything. You're not helping the church by holding all the work upon your shoulder, and you're not helping yourself, because you will be so buried underneath the responsibility that eventually you crash, just like the Israelites. Okay, so if you can do 5, take 6 or take 7. Okay, the additional strength that you need is through your kneecap, is through prayer, so that the Lord will show you his mighty hand and make the impossible possible. That's called rely on God. All right. So the number 1 problem, too much. Number 2 problem, here says that the enemy say we will go inside and kill them when they do not know, when they do not see. Internal struggle, internal conflict is another way that Satan ruined the work of God. That's why in John chapter 17, that we find the prayer of Jesus. Usually you do not find the prayer of Jesus in detailed content. Right? Very often the Bible just say he prayed, he went up to the mountain to pray, he went the inner room to pray, he took the wedding. We knew he prayed a lot, but we have no idea what he was praying about. But in John chapter 17 gave us the detailed content of his prayer. And one of the things that he prayed and focused upon is unity. In his prayer, he constantly prayed to God and said to the Lord, grant them unity so that they can be in one as we are in one. Unity, unity, unity. For unity is the key to see the power of the Lord. So the easiest way to defeat a holy work is when the workers bickering, fighting. Not only it ruined the holy work, but it also ruined the faith of the members. Not only the faith of the workers, but faith of the members. The easiest way to deter a true seeker also is by disharmony members. You invite a true seeker. You tell them that God loves you so much, and the love of God floating in the members' heart. And we are all loving people. And then the true seeker came the first time, came into the chapel or came into the dining hall. And then the first thing that they see is 2 members fighting, arguing, or throwing things at each other. Lunchtime, spaghetti. Let me assure you. Forget about the 5 basic doctrine. Forget about miracle and sign. Forget about testimony. The true seeker they were just looking odd, and they will just walk away. And you try to preach to the true seeker about we are all loving people filled with the love of above. You try. So the easiest way is what? Internal conflict. And here says that the enemy, the adversary say, when they are least aware, you don't see, you don't know, I come in, I kill. Why? Why coming and kill? The crucial thing is the enemy coming and kill when you are not seeing. So what happened? The problem is that you don't know who killed the person. And then suspicion, doubt, accusation, pointing finger. It's you, it's you, it's you. Then everybody becomes your enemy. That's called internal conflict. And that's the easiest way to ruin a community. I heard a testimony from Deacon Ho. Deacon Ho. I don't remember the solid detail, but I think that in the testimony, he mentioned that, I'm not sure if it's in a dream or a vision, that he saw that the Satan was on the roof of the chapel. No, not doing anything. Satan was not doing anything. Satan was napping. Satan was on the roof of the chapel napping, sleeping. Why? Because inside the members were fighting, the council were fighting. So, you know, when people are fighting, Satan doesn't even need to work because you guys will destroy you will destroy the church yourself. Satan doesn't need to work. When there are a lot of conflict, anguishment, or a lot of accusation, doubt, a lot of division and separation, then you know what? Satan doesn't even need to put in effort because we will be the one to pull this body apart and destroy it. So then here, we have to understand one thing. When there were conflict, when there were tension happen in the church between you and someone, please don't immediately take it personal. Because it could be the plot of Satan. Satan went over and smack you on the head from your back, and then you turn back and say, who? Satan disappeared. And then you saw somebody just pass by. Must be you, must be you. You wait. Oh, okay, fine, it's you. And then next time when you grab the chance, you went and smacked the person back. And the person turned back and said, you, why did you smack me? Then Satan's job is done. The remaining drama, we could create it ourselves. So do not give in to emotion, to anger. Do not immediately take everything personal and try to vengeance for yourself, because when you do that, everybody lose. Only Satan standing there and say, good job, you did it well. So be careful. Satan will enter amongst us and trying to create conflict. Number 3, in verse 12 say, the Jews who dwell near the enemy came and told us, come, whenever you turn, they come, they will be upon us. This is the third problem. The third problem is you are too close to the enemy. Here says that there were some people where they decide, where they choose to live is vulnerable. It's more vulnerable. It's easier for the enemy to attack. Probably farther away from other people, probably lacking of good communication, probably closer to the enemy, so lacking of protection. We don't know. We don't know why they choose to live in certain place, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why you choose the place. It's quieter. The view is better. The land is more fertile. It doesn't matter. The only reality is when you are closer to enemy, you die sooner. That's the only reality. Okay. So just like in here, forget about working and rebuild the wall. They are purely trying to survive. Not only they try to survive, they are dragging the limited resources from other people to help them. Why? Because in here says that you need to come to us and you need to come to us. You know, what can Nehemiah do if every day he need to deal with this? You come help, every day come help. Then nobody can really settle down and build the wall to complete the job. In Gospel Mark, it talk about, a famous, the paralytic, the paralyzed man who were carried by 4 of his friends, so that they carry him to the top of the roof and dropping in front of Jesus, right? We all know this. You see, that's the problem. One paralyzed exhausts 400% of resources. Totally a waste of 5 times the person who was paralyzed and the 4 that need to take care of him. These 4, they cannot go and do their work. They cannot go and, and till the land, to farm, they cannot do anything. They need to carry him. Just like the people in here, when you choose to get closer to the enemy, doesn't matter why. Look at Lot. When Abraham separated with Lot, when Lot separated with Abraham, he chose the plan of Jordan because it's well water, like the land of Egypt, like the land of garden, like the garden of God. So the original intention, hey, come on, I just want to have a good place for my family, a good place for my herds, for my flock. My intention is very simple. But the problem is, it doesn't matter what your intention. You are close to Sodom and Gomorrah. Intention means really little. When you basically jeopardize your life, your spiritual life, for whatever the intention is, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, Satan will not pardon you, and Satan will not show any mercy. When you choose to get very close to the enemy for whatever the reason is, your enemy will not spare you. They will not come and ask you, oh, why are you so close to us? Yeah, taking the knife and before they slit your throat and say, oh, why do you move? Do you like us a lot? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They slit your throat anyway. That's what happened. The Bible recorded when the Israelites were in the desert, the Amalekite, they for those who were unable to catch up, for those who were falling behind, that the enemy came. The Amalekites, they came and they killed. They don't care about what is the reason. You can tell them, I like my privacy. That's why I don't like to go with a big group. Ooh, then you die. You can tell them, I have a stomach this morning. People want to help me, but I think I am okay. It does, the reality is, it doesn't matter why you are walking away from the safety. Why you decide to walk away from the safety and draw yourself closer to the enemy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the reason is when you die, when you are killed by the enemy. The reason means nothing. Okay? So what's the solution? Don't move there. Simply like that. Don't be close to the enemy. That our in the generation today, we are so troubled because our enemy were so close. Fast computer, powerful internet, high speed, fiber optic. There was once I went and visited a youth, high school. I went and visited the family. And then the child, I went to the child's room. In his room, he has a big screen TV, and he was so proudly announcing to me, I got fiber optic. I was like, for what? Well, you run a business or something? Well, you're like a big Fortune 500 CEO? You do nothing but playing games. What's so, well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, when you have all this in your room, and you have the tendency to close and lock your room, you are very close to the enemy voluntarily. Voluntarily. You invite Satan to your room with an open arm, and then you wonder why you are so weak. You wonder why you pray and feel nothing. Why? Because Satan sits right next to you and got his arm over you and say, hey, buddy, we good friends. You invite him to your room every day, and you question why you are so weak. The problem is not about being weak. The problem is that you're about to die. That's the problem. Why? Self-invitation. You invite him. So you don't, you have no one to blame when you open arm and invite the enemy. When you choose voluntarily to live very close to your enemy, your choice result in the consequence that you suffer. As my children grow up, now they are older, 9 and 11. One thing we do not let them do is that they don't get to close their door. They still do. I just opened it. So every day there's this closed door, open door, closed door, open door thing. Another thing we do not let them do is they do not have computer in their room. So all their homework is done in the in the small dining room that we have. Always sitting there and have the mom sitting next to them. It takes more space out of our house, out of our place. It took more space. But hey, it works out better. Because they never stay in the room, close the door with their computer on their own. They never get to do that. All the computers are outside in the living room, including this one that I stole from them. Okay, so it's your choice. You know that when every year I have students, probably not this year, but in the past, every NYTS I have students come up to me and say, Pastor, I need to tell you something. And all the story that I heard throughout the years, that I always told them the solution is easy, but you won't do it. You're worried about, or you are ensnared by wasting your life on social media, YouTube, watching things like mindlessly for hours, wasting your time, or you are caught by pornography, or whatever. You know what your generation are going through. You come to me, you say, Pastor, I need to talk to you. I got a problem. Deal with it. What's the point of coming to me? Share with me. But at the same time, tell yourself, no, I'm not going to change the way I live my life. If you don't want to move away from the enemy, then talking to me is, number one, make my life more difficult, because now I have to carry your cross. Because now I know, and I'm supposed to pray for you. But if you are unwilling to change, you don't want to sacrifice, and you don't want to cut off, telling me, adding on my burden, telling me, making yourself feel better, just like how the Catholic, they go to those small confession room, and they say, what, Holy Father, forgive me for I have sinned, like something like that. They say it. It makes them feel good. They pull themselves out. So they go out and they sing again. Oh, I confess. This is making me so good. It's worthy of celebration. Let's go drinking. Let's go sing again. So this kind of confession, this kind of so-called repentance really mean nothing if you don't want to deal with it. You can, just like these people, they call on Nehemiah. You need to come to us. You need to come help us. Move. Why don't you move to somewhere else? You say, but my house is here. What is more important, your house or your life? But the land is good in here. What is more important, the land or your life? Or the life of your children? So instead of bugging and dragging everyone to go down with you, instead of exhausting all the resources and slow down the project of rebuilding the wall, you move. You cut it off. I told one of the youth, that use the parental control and set up those parental lock. You close your eyes, you just type whatever, and then you hit enter. That's your password. A password that you never knew. A password that you will never find out. So the moment when you are enticed by your lustful desire that you want to go to those filthy websites, and then you see it says that please enter your password, and you're like, man, I have no idea. I only know it's more than 30 digits. And the only way that you can go around it is by formatting your computer and reinstall everything. Perhaps you will give up. Perhaps. I don't know. If you are so persistent, we'll figure something else. But what I'm saying is move, deal with it. Okay, so that's the three problems. When your life is so burdened, so occupied by rubbish, then you lose strength because you are so tired. Number two, when you are giving into emotion, taking everything personal, unable to discern, this is the scheme, this is the plot of Satan. You fall into it, it not only it hurt you, but it also hurt other people. It hurt the house of the Lord. Number three, in here, if you are very close to the enemy, you move. You move to somewhere where you have brothers and sisters, where there are people who will hold you accountable, who can be there. If worst come to the worst, you surrender your computer and you use, of course, you always come back with, I need to do my homework. Go to the library. It's easy for me to say, yeah. But what I'm telling you is how far, it really depends how extreme you want to be, okay? You can keep the computer, but you can shut down the internet. Tell your parents to help you. After a certain hour, turn off the internet. Turn off the internet. Or you take out the lock. Tell your parents you take out the lock of your door. And also you give them the permission to open the door anytime, so that you never know when they will come in. You say to your dad, surprise me, right? Yeah, for girls, you say to your mom, come in anytime, open the door. Oh. And you know what? That will probably alarm you when you want to do something that's not very glorifying God, okay? All right, so now we have three problems. We need to look at the solution. What are the solutions? Verse 13. Let's just read verse 14. Running out of time. 14. And I looked and arose and said to the noble, to the leader, and to the rest of the people, do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, great and awesome, and fight for your brethren, your son, your daughter, your wife, and your house. So in here, the first solution is to know the consequence. First of all, you need to know that your God is great and mighty. This one we all know. God can help. There's nothing too hard for him to help. and there's nothing too hard for him to fix in your life. Okay? But the main thing is not about God is great and awesome, is you are not fighting for yourself. This is one thing that you need to remember. You are not fighting. This is one thing as a pastor that I often remind myself that I cannot afford to fail. I'm not saying I would not fail because I'm strong and this and that. Is that when I look at my family, when I look at my children, when I look at Ariana, when I look at Zechariah, I say to myself, I cannot afford to fail. Because it not only if I fall, it impact more than just myself. It impact my children. How would they continue to learn about this God? How could they continue to trust in this God? How could they believe that they can continue in the journey if they see their father fail and walk away? Or if I walk away, I take them away with me, what will happen? That just because my weaknesses, just because my selfishness, I walk away from the church and I take them with me, that they know nothing about God. They do not have SSC, NYTS, PM. They have nothing. That's the selfish. That's the selfish things that a person can do. The most selfish thing that a person can do. But it does impact, you have to understand you are not fighting for yourself, including being here, attending this spiritual event. You, because of your decision, it impacts your spiritual journey. Because the spiritual journey you decide to take, it determined or it set a possible path for your future family and your future children. If you know nothing about God, or you are very careless about the Bible, and then one day when you have your family, when you have your children, the family grow up looking at you, my mom knows nothing about Bible. I guess Bible is not important. Or when you grow up, never attend any church event. The children grow up will feel, I don't need any church event, because that's the example. So number one, you have to remember, this is not only about you. This is about your future family. Okay? So hopefully by thinking, having a vision for the future, by thinking more, thinking in a thinking further, thinking in a more thinking about future more, you might have a different attitude with the choice that you make today. Sometimes you see, not in the church, sometimes you see that people at their youth, when they were young, they are reckless. They do anything. We're talking about like the outside society. Young and reckless, do anything. So they tattoo. Ooh, so cool, tattoo. And until they settle down, they have their family, they want to bring their children up in a more upright format, so that the children doesn't need to go through all the terrible, lousy life that the person went through. Having tattoo, drinking and being dragged out of the bar, waking up on a stranger's bed, pregnancy before marriage, all those kind of things that ruin a person's life. Now you want your child, you want your children not go through the same thing, not to suffer like you. But just because everything that you did, all the example that you say, everything that they know about you, there's a high chance that they will take the same path. They will. Okay? They will repeat all the miseries that you suffer, because that's what you brought upon them when you were young. All right. So remember, this is not only about you. Okay? A warning for you, for every one of you. It doesn't matter what happened. You must not walk away from TJC. I don't care if someone hurt you a lot in the future. I don't care if the church assign work and treat you unfairly. I don't care if you had a very, very bad bickering with another member or another coworker. You have a few choices. You can choose to bring it to God and ask God to vengeance for you. You can choose to kneel down and pray so that the Lord will take the anger away from your heart. You can choose to explode and have a direct confrontation with the person who hates you, who hurt you. I don't care. It's your choice. But out of all the options, walking away from TJC is not one of them. Because you walk away from TJC, you deprive, you take away the chance for your children to know God. And how dare you to do that? When you call yourself a loving parent and knowing that you are the one taking them away from God, depriving them from the chance of knowing God and grow up in the love of God, that's the worst thing that a parent can do. So it doesn't matter, feel free to take different options based on your faith. It's your choice. But walking away from the church is not one of them. Okay? Number 2, well, wait, what time is it? 53, overtime. Sorry. I guess something never changed. Either having class physically or having class online, something never changed. Okay, sorry about it. Our next Nehemiah class goes to the mid of next week. So before that, please take your time to read through slowly. It's okay, because we have a lot of time in between. Please take your time to read through the book of Nehemiah. Okay, let's all pray in silence.